nurse who admitted to breaking the bones of babies. She got a sweetheart deal then. She's getting a sweetheart deal now. Put it up full mass. Nurse who broke the bones of infants gets a plea deal that's completely unbelievable. In an update, a judge has found Miss Erin Strotman, a Virginia nurse, guilty of felony child abuse for fracturing the bones of several infants when she worked in a neonatal intensive care unit at a Richmond hospital. Strotman pleaded no contest, was allowed to plead no contest January 15th to 20 charges filed against her, including malicious wounding and child abuse for several incidents between 2022 and 2024 in which she injured 9 babies while working at Henrico Doctors Hospital. I'm going to talk about how she was originally caught in just a moment. Just consider the most innocent of life imaginable. A baby, an infant. And you are a person of extreme public trust. You are a nurse inside of the facility having access to these infants, and you break their bone. You're licensed, you're trained, you know better. In my opinion, you're held to a higher standard of accountability, not a lower one. If somebody from the street walked in and did that, judge, throw the book out. If this happened to be a black nurse, come on. This is how she was originally caught. When the hospital administration launched an internal investigation, this was in 2024, they said 3 babies at the time were found to have unexplainable fractures. A criminal complaint stated that surveillance video showed Nurse Strotman abusing a 5-month-old infant in November of 2024. The footage reportedly showed the former nurse taking the infant by his legs and pushing the child's legs to the point his feet reached his head. The hospital noted the incident looked similar to another case in 2023. That year, Strotman was placed on administrative leave, but was allowed to return to the hospital in 2024. I'm going to give you the rest of the story. They're looking at the video. They see clearly she's abusing children. And the type of fracture, they now realize, my goodness, that looks like the type of fracture that took place in 2023 we couldn't explain. So now they got to go back and research more. So they suspend her, rightfully so. So she's gone. She should have been in jail that day. So she's gone. They bring her back. After the criminal investigation was launched, more developments emerged that linked the same nurse to cases involving 9 wounded babies in total. Could potentially have been more. She was ultimately charged with 20 counts of malicious wounding and felony child abuse. That's a lot of children to abuse to get a sweetheart plea deal. There's more. The Virginia Nursing Board suspended her nursing license May of 2025, according to WRIC. A judge found Strotman guilty of 9 felony child abuse charges after she pleaded no contest to all counts. Once again, was allowed to plead no contest to all counts. No contest. Okay? No contest is typically the plea deal you reach when you say, hey, I'm not going to really admit to guilt. I'm not going to come out and say it. But I agree that the state has enough evidence here that it would be difficult for me to overcome this evidence during a trial. So they allow for this no contest plea. Okay? Strotman will remain out on bond until her sentencing, which is scheduled for June 5th. Once again, another courtesy, remaining out on bond. She's convicted. The Commonwealth Attorney has requested for Strotman to receive 3 years imprisonment as part of a plea agreement, but the judge will decide if her sentence is longer or shorter. I can't make sense of this. I can't make heads or tails of this because all of those children are connected to families. And I'm sure those families are outraged that their babies had to endure this kind of physical abuse. And the individual who has basically admitted to doing it and doing it more than one time and doing it intentionally, not via neglect, and doing it while serving in a position of public trust as a licensed healthcare practitioner gets 3 damn years or a plea deal from a prosecutor whose job is to hold the person accountable to the standards of the people. All right. Jordan, thoughts here?
I'm just floored. Like you say, this is somebody who is in a position of public trust, someone who self-selected to be in a caregiving role. And it's not even that they're deliberately causing harm. Like that is, of course, terrible. But doing so to the most defenseless living humans, that is on another level. As you were reading the details, I was wincing, thinking about just not just how painful that must have been for the child, but just like how evil you have to be comfortable in deliberately inflicting that kind of harm. I mean, I've never broken a bone, thankfully, knock on wood, but like the thought of it like makes me shudder because it's foreign and it feels pain. I feel like it's going to be extremely painful, and you're doing that to an infant in the NICU. They're already in there for complications. Like, what is wrong with you? I'm so confused by what would motivate anybody to do this other than just some deranged mental illness.
Yeah. And I'm equally confused by the prosecutor willing to strike a plea deal that is so light. We'll bring you updates as to the judge's decision when that happens. What up? This is your man, Dr. Rashad Richey. Always good to be with you. Listen, there's a lot going on in this world. I mean, people are losing their damn minds, but you're not. Let's keep the momentum going. We must remain resistant to the insanity that's happening around us. How do we do that? We keep each other informed, we keep each other encouraged, and we say something when it needs to be said. I have no problem doing that because you are my boss. You are. We work in this together. Here's what you can do to make sure we continue to make the impact in your local community. Number one, I want you to consider tapping that like button and even leaving a message. Number two, subscribe to the channel. Number three, if you press that bell icon every time I go live, you are aware of it. And number four, I would love it for you to become a member. Those are the things you can do right now to make sure that this content remains constant and relevant in your local community. And listen, don't forget to tell a friend, all right? I would love it for you to be here with me. There is no me without you. Welcome to Indisputable.